Hey everyone, and welcome to BBC episode 101. We're in the hundreds now.
The new era of the Broken by Concept podcast, the Soloq motivational podcast.
That's correct. And we've got a few quick announcements here. There's going to be some changes.
When
Everyone
I say
hates change.
New era. This is the new era.
Yeah. People panic when there's change.
There is. People don't like change. We know League of Legends patches. Everyone's
ready.
Oh
We're
my God,
about
what's
to
going
ruin
on?
everyone's day with
Okay.
a sentence.
Here we go.
Goodbye, Nathan's mailbag. There's no more Nathan's mailbag in the Broken by Concept podcast episode. But the positive is that we are doing Nathan's mailbag separately as a separate video each week.
Separate episode.
Separate episodes.
And we're going to start naming them from literally episode 1.
Is that what you want to do?
That's the current plan, I believe.
Okay. So we'll have BBC episode, which is what we'll discuss
Our
whatever topics of the week, and then we're also going to have another one because of popular demand of emails that come flooding into Nathan's mailbag. I mean, you should see his mail room in his apartment. It's out of control.
Yeah.
So there's that, and last thing here, there's going to be an additional secret, spicy form of content that is also released later on in the week. We're not going to spoil what it is, but it's new.
It's experiment.
We're testing. It's an experiment.
You
Another
guys might
experiment.
hate it.
Yep.
You
Might be
might not
trash.
like it.
Might be trash. Might lose our entire audience, Nathan, off this one video.
That's right. So the key big thing is that there's going to be 3 different BBCs videos per week.
That's correct.
So if you're just subscribed to the YouTube channel,
3 a week.
you're literally not going to be able to keep up. It's going to be impossible.
So the goal is the podcast gets released as per normal.
Yep.
And then there's going to be another one in the middle of the week, which is potentially Nathan's mailbag or the other one. We'll decide the order.
That's right.
And then another one on the end of the week.
The spicy one in the week. This is
A
the
lot.
new era.
It's a new era.
This
Here we
is
go.
it. If you guys thought you didn't have enough of me and Curtis and I,
And shout out to Charlie for helping us all put this together.
Absolutely.
So we've got a
Yes.
behind the scenes guy helping us. We're not doing this by ourselves. So without him, this wouldn't be possible. So shout out Charlie. I want to see shout out Charlie in the comments as well.
everyone's got to give love to Charlie. Okay?
That's correct. So obviously big news. 12.
Hold on, Curtis. We've added a new thing to our law.
okay.
We got David Goggins Can't Hurt Me book. We've added.
Yep.
We've said that we're going to start adding more and more
Yep.
things to the law of the Broken by Concept podcast.
Yep.
I mean, David Goggins, he's the epitome of no excuses, man.
Grinder.
Love it. Like if you literally type in on YouTube,
Taking total responsibility.
David Goggins motivational videos, I swear to God, they're the highest motivational view videos on the internet. On
Taking
YouTube.
souls. There's my favorite one on YouTube is this one
There's
called
so many, dude. They pop up
Taking
every
Souls.
day, dude.
I mean,
I'm
he would
not
have
even
to be
kidding.
up there with, I think for a lot of the people in our inner circle, he's definitely changed our life
Absolutely.
for the better.
And this guy was nothing. He started with nothing, dude. It's a great book. I definitely recommend it. It's
For
one of
anyone
the
who
best
is
books.
not familiar with David Goggins, even if you don't come from any fitness background or anything like that, or military background, whatever, just get the goddamn book.
Yeah, it's not
Just
about
read
that.
it.
It's about the
that.
mindset.
No, it's all about the mentality.
Yeah.
Okay. So 12.10, Nathan.
Durability patch.
So
What's our initial reactions, Curtis? So we played 3 days on the patch, 2 days?
I think 2, right?
Yeah,
This
2
will be our
days.
third day today. We play some more Soloq today. How many games total have you played on the new patch?
I play 5 games a day, so I played 10 games.
10. So yeah, I played 6.
That
So,
sounds-
actually, no, I played more than that. I played like 7 or 8 actually.
I remember my first day, I pop up and I'm like, this Kaiser's like pinging in her health and she's like, it's got 760 health level 1. I'm like, whoa, that's a lot of HP. She obviously got like a Doran's beta. I think,
Yeah.
I don't know, what did you be
So
like?
look, the first things first, right? We got to come in and approach this. There was a lot of hype around this patch. People have been talking this for ages. As soon as the PvE notes came out, people were like, oh my God, this is going to change the league forever, et cetera, et cetera. So we were anticipating, or the general consensus heading into this patch, this was going to change the game. Like this is going to, everyone's intuition, muscle memory is going to go to shit. We're all going to have to relearn the game essentially. New game, new everything, new champ pools, the whole thing's going to explode. And to be honest with you, again, just speaking through my personal preference, so far at least.
So was your approach, we talked about this on the podcast when we talked about this patch, it was episode 98. We're going to do the exact same of what we've been doing.
Yep, send it.
And then adapt from there.
Right. Well, because you can't make predictions without just playing on the goddamn patch, right?
right.
League's such a feel-oriented game, right? So I played my games. I played I played a bit of Victor, a bit of Silas, a bit of Fizz, played a lot of things just to get a feel for it. Quite honestly, initial impressions, not overly different. Really, dead set. Like for me personally, like it doesn't. Sure, there might have been some moments here and there in my games where maybe I would have killed or maybe I would have survived. I mean, I would have died, but I did survive. But it wasn't to the extent where it was compensating for.
You have to change your decision making completely.
My decision making is always going to be the same.
Resetting, trading on this type of way, getting CS.
No, nothing really changed.
Yeah.
Like I think you just have to, be a bit more specific, and you got to know exactly what the combos are and what you can and can't do. And I think there's a gap between what our intuition is now in terms of damage output and what it needs to be. So it's kind of, I guess, a calibration period in the middle where over the next few weeks we're going to have to update our feel for the game. What I will say though, the big meaningful change was tower damage. For me, tower damage,
it hits like a truck now.
In every game I think I've played, someone has typed, wow, towers did a lot more than I expected. I think I've died out of my 7-8 games. I think I've died at least one every 2 of those games, half of them, from just underestimating tower damage.
Is that you dive in 1v1 mid? Like you're like, like under the mid tower, just yours with the jungler?
No, usually with its team. Like usually it's a team going in for a dive, and like it looks like we got a collapse on like their mid laner, and like we collapse because I was playing Bard support on some of them, and then like they just die because they take 2 tower hits and you're just dead.
Crazy.
So the tower hit damage is significant.
That's interesting.
It's very significant.
I've not noticed it at all.
When you pay, like if you get into a situation where you're doing dives, you will notice it instantaneously.
This is why it's interesting, why I haven't noticed that at all. I dive all the time. I play Rek'Sai and volleyball. That's all I do.
That's so fat. So over these past 2 days, you haven't felt it at all.
No,
and you've done dives.
And I do dives all the time.
That's so interesting because that was the first thing that jumped to mind straight away.
Because with those type of champs, the way I play the game, Curtis, a good dive shouldn't even be close. Think about the way that I play dives with volibear ults, right? I can avoid 2-3 shots, right? And just run away.
But if you think about your champions, right? You're playing Rek'Sai and
Rek'Sai can juggle.
You're juggling. So you haven't really taken tower damage.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So maybe it's
for different champs.
Yeah, maybe you're in a unique case where like volibear, you're disabling the turret essentially.
That's right.
And then Rek'Sai, you're de-aggroing anyway. Yeah. So maybe you just haven't experienced the raw tower damage.
I haven't at all.
Maybe if you play other champs or you get into a different situation, I guarantee you'll feel it. That for me was the biggest change. I mean, yeah, there was some slight differences in healing as well. Like I did a Vlad review with someone I noticed healing was quite insignificant. The Silas W nerf was again, like all the healing was quite, it did feel a little bit different. But across the board, it's the same game.
The same decision making.
It's the same decision making.
I do exactly everything the same. I can invade people's stores, Rek'Sai, and kill people. I can push them off their camps. I win 2v2s and 3v3s because remember, they're tankier, but also you're tankier
as well. That's the fundamental thing. You're able to do more damage.
Everyone thinks it's like, oh, everyone's just unkillable, but it's like,
well you can stay in combat longer. So you can get maybe that additional auto attack
that second rotation
of abilities, right? So like so far for me anyway, I got to play more. Again, I'm not going to jump to any conclusions here, but so far, it hasn't really felt like big of a change.
Did you notice the difference in champs that people were picking?
In terms of
like the first day? It was like for me, I had like Cassio mid, which is the bane of my existence. Like Zach, all these, everyone was playing tank, Gwen.
Right, they just instantly shifted.
I remember my first game was literally a Cassio, a Gwen versus like Garen top or something like that. Ols versus it's like everyone just started picking tanks randomly. It was weird.
It does, completely under. That's just not deserved. I mean,
do you think that's just a one-off? Everyone was
like people should not be doing that.
Yeah, that's an over.
It's a massive
holy shit, tanks! You got to play tanks.
Do you feel as though, from the jungle perspective, that the effectiveness of gank into junglers and early game junglers has been reduced because of this patch, or do you think the meta is gonna shift that direction towards tank oriented junglers?
I would say right now, again, I've played 10 games, guys. In one scenario, I didn't kill a Karma I usually would have killed, but it was close anyway. It was a play that like, if it didn't go well, it's like, I probably shouldn't be taking that play in the first place. It's like, it's a bit of a risk. Because good ganking and these ganking junglers, there should be they're dead.
Yep.
You know, like it shouldn't even be close. Like, yeah, there is certain situations, but you could always review those situations and be like, you know, it was on the edge anyway. You know, like there's so many things that can happen, flashes and heals.
Yeah, I got
stuff.
an example. I was playing Victor into LeBlanc. I was using a LeBlanc Shaco. It's just an unplayable 2v2. Like there's nothing I can do, right? So I'm just sitting on the tower basically, allowing myself to get shoved in, trying to get to my mythics and stuff like that. And there was a moment where I should have died 100% to the LeBlanc. Like
Really?
I took a full combo. I think I took a chain to the face. But I remember thinking, it's like, I should die here anyway. Like my learning from this doesn't change whether I die or not. Like this is still a very painful experience to me because I have to base and lose the wave anyway.
That's right.
Like from a learning perspective, I'm not going to change my behavior. Like it's a bad trade, a terrible trade either way.
You're going to get punished for it.
I'm getting punished for it either way. Like, so for me so far, yeah, I survived that, but it's as good as basically dead anyway, because I missed the entire wave. I got in a way lucky. I should have died. And it's like I can learn from that anyway, like whether I died or not. So I think for a lot of people, as long as you're getting into the review and you're looking at the near misses and you're equally weighing the near misses as much as the actual deaths, you're going to be completely fine. Right? From a learning perspective. What's interesting though, straight up, this is a fascinating thing. I asked 610 the day, I think it was the day after the patch came out. I said, 610, do you play any games?
This is a Challenger US player, right?
Yeah, I think he's GM at the moment.
Okay.
And I said, oh, it could be interesting to get a high elo perspective, someone I respect, opinion. And he said, Curtis, to be honest, like I didn't really feel much different. And it's so interesting because I saw a contrasting opinion from the lower elo people and the higher elo people. The higher elo clients in the MLA, a lot of them didn't really have much to say about the changes. I mean, some here and there, but across the board, the consensus that it wasn't really that significant. Whereas this lower elo community where, I'm not going to say, again, I don't want to generalize too much here, but for the odd case here and there were some people panicking. Losing their mind.
I literally have.
I had someone ask, should I change my champ pool?
Yeah. I have had 2 people ask me that already. And
I had someone quit the MLA.
There we go. Really?
I had legit.
Whoa.
Dead serious. I got a DM.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say his name. I had someone message me saying, Curtis, ever since the new patch came out, this was like yesterday, my entire champ pool feels terrible. I don't feel like I don't have fun playing the game anymore. I'm going to leave the MLA. That's it. This is dead serious. I'm not even lying. This is true.
And he was in the lower elo bracket.
And he was in. I don't know. I'm going to be honest. I don't know what his rank was. But I'm kind of looping him in here because I'm assuming he's lower elo. But I have seen some of the lower elo clients in the MLA over exaggerate.
Yeah,
the patch.
I've had the same experience.
But how interesting is that?
That is very interesing. Yeah,
the dichotomy in the opinions.
Again, the way that I'll think about it is that again, like how high-elo players, again, I don't want to generalize, but
more field-oriented, right?
Yeah, more field-oriented, but we understand the severity of mistakes in our games that are just not got to do with the patch or champs or anything like that, you know?
Like
resets, you know, like
I took a bad trade.
Trades. Like that doesn't matter, you know? It's like that's
doesn't
just
matter.
League of Legends, me missing reading a fully stacked wave I could have dived. Like that's end of review. Fuck, like that's any patch, just the game, unless they somehow change minions HP.
But I think it's important to know that it's not that the meta won't change. It definitely will. Yeah. But we don't know how it might. I think actually, like my hypothesis right now, like my biggest hot take for the patch is that, you know how like metas are shifted generally from one role. Like the way in my mind a meta works is that one role that is significantly changed by a patch. So in my opinion, I think it's top. So I think top, the durability does actually matter in top because it's such small margins and it's a long lane. And if someone survives and dies, it actually makes a very big difference in my opinion, especially when you're heavy trading like that. And top's such a heavy trading role. If that impacts the top meta in any way, shape or form, that is going to have a flow-on effect in the mid meta because the mid meta a lot of the time is impacted by the amount of mobility and the type of top laners that are in the game. Because if there's a lot of tanks and stuff like that, it's harder to play particular mid champs. So then if mid laners change and they get affected by whatever's in top, that's going to impact the junglers, and then that's going to have a flow effect on supports. And
that's right.
It's a flow effect usually from one role. My hot take is that top it might get shifted around in some way, shape, or form. I don't know how. That's my hunch. that like the numbers do affect top more than any other role. And then that's going to have a flow-on effect or a chain effect on the rest of the roles, potentially.
Okay.
I don't know which way the direction.
What's an example in the meta where something has one pick change and then the picks change? Oh, I know one. Jarvan popped up in the meta because Jinx started becoming super OP. Remember at the beginning of the season?
I don't actually remember that.
Well, that was more competitive, not so much Soloq,
Right.
right? But Jarvan, because Jarvan can lock her down. She has only flash and she's dead, right?
Well, all I
That's
know is that
interesting
when there's like particular champs strong in top lane, like there's like a rotation, like when Ornn's strong, like it changes the top meta, and then like when Fiora's strong, and then Camille,
Yeah,
and then
that's right.
Jax,
Top is-
it goes
it
through
is
like
top,
a
isn't
rotation.
it? Yeah.
It just kind of goes through a rotation in top. That's what kind of what it feels like.
Because
to
then
me.
Jax is bad in
and then
AP
Gwen
champs.
comes in, and then when it's squishy, yeah, like it goes through like this rotation in a way. But and when Shen is strong, Shen comes in. Like there's like a rotation. but so far I've versed all like the same types of champs. Like LeBlanc's, I'm still getting like I still feel threatened by LeBlanc. I still feel threatened by Ari. You know, it's the same thing. I did hear one interesting take from Matthias, who's actually probably my most successful client at the moment. He's like 600-ish LPN EU. And he was saying how he plays a lot of Akshan, and he was saying how there has been a noticeable drop-off in Akshan. Like early game, you're stronger. He said, I feel stronger in the early game, but like there's a huge drop-off in my effectiveness heading into mid-game, whereas before it wasn't so much. Generally, I'm assuming because of the HP scaling, right? So I do think there are certain champions that may drop off a little bit more. Ari could potentially be one of them, but I haven't felt like that compensates for like having a bad early game. Like, you know, like if you have a bad early game, you have a bad early game. It's not going to change that. So it'll be interesting to see how that affects the meta. So I don't know. It was too early days. We're going to have to keep an eye on it.
Again, I literally laughed for myself when I said, how many games you played? And I was like, 10 games. Like,
Yeah.
you played 6 games.
We can't really have
You know,
an educated.
You're going to need at least 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Do you think Riot should drastically start changing things in 2 weeks, or do you think we need longer than 2 weeks?
No, they should always be have the finger on the pulse for hot fixes. I think there already is coming one out, right? I'm pretty sure there's a 12.10b.
What's that for? Isn't that for like, I know
I know they were nerfing like Senna.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah. Senna's
There was
out of
like
control.
there was a few champs. I can't remember off the top of my head, but there was a hot fix coming out.
Interesting.
But yeah, that's my initial thought. So we'll do an update. I think we'll do it for the next few weeks. We'll do an update regardless. But so far, nothing drastic.
I'm still playing Rek'Sai. It's fine.
Yep.
Early game ganking jungler. Full damage assassin. I build Prowler's Claw.
So Nathan, I got one thing I want to talk about.
Okay.
I can't remember if I spoke about this on the podcast or not. So tell me if I have. Watching VODs. So have I spoken about what sort of VODs you should be watching from someone else?
I think we've
spoke about that.
Dabbled into it.
Okay.
Let's hear what you got to say, Curtis.
So in the past, it's something I've been wrong with. I genuinely, if I were to go back in time, I would change my, I mean, I can't, right? You learn, but I would change my opinion. I've changed my opinion on this. I used to think that watching the best players in the world was the best way to learn. So watching the showmakers, the chovies, the dopers, like I was a massive fan of those. I would watch them a lot.
So
religiously.
you go to YouTube and say Doper,
TF.
Twisted Fate matchup. This.
That's right. Like I would watch specifically the players that I believed that were, and everyone in the community basically said that they were the best of that champion. And you know, obviously it's great. It feels amazing to watch Rank 1 Korea because Korea is like the most competitive server. You want to watch Rank 1 Korea, right? But it got me thinking. I remember I've been watching a lot of Showmaker VODs over the past 2 weeks. And because he's been really trying in Soloq. I think he's trying to get 2 accounts like top 2 or something like that.
Love it. Love the competition.
And anyway, and I started watching him and I was watching him and I just started thinking to myself, this does not look like my games whatsoever. Like this doesn't look like my Oceanic, like Grandmaster Challenger level games. Like it just doesn't look like that. The games don't play out like this. People don't make decisions like that, specifically with the aggressiveness. Like I don't see these champions in my games. I don't see this many Lee Sins in my games. Like I have like Evelyns and Rengars in my games. Why is there's like
that changes the game, pace of the game. It's literally a different game.
It's a different game.
Like
right?
having an Eve in your game, jungle versus a Lee Sin Rek'Sai.
Changes the game completely.
Yeah. I mean, think about having me on your team versus an Eve.
I mean, it's just
It's a different game. The pace of the game is different.
One's like League of Legends and one's like League of Legends beta version of it. You know?
I hope I'm the League of Legends one.
Yeah, you're the real League of Legends. So anyway, my point being, like, I was watching these VODs and I was thinking, I'm struggling to really, like, I guess empathize, like what their mentality would be, because like I'm just not in this situation. I can't do this, or doing this. I don't feel like I'm going to get bailed out of this lane like this. Like I feel like, yeah, if I'm playing LeBlanc on the server and then I have a Lee Sin, they're always going to come in this situation, or they're going to do this, or they're going to do this.
Yeah.
Like, or they're playing Ari. There's these certain game states are going to happen. Like the amount of skirmishes, they're just different. It's a different feel, right? And it got me thinking, I genuinely believe watching VODs of a differing server, I'm not saying there's no value. We'll get to this in a second, what value you can take. But I think it's extremely overrated. And my theory is that most people should only watch VODs from their own server. So if you play an NA, so let's say you're a Olaf player, a Diamond 4 Olaf player, or Diamond 1. Let's say you're a D2, D1 Olaf jungle player in NA. Rather than going to find the best Korean Olaf jungle or the best Chinese Olaf jungle, you'd be better off watching the best Olaf jungle in NA. Even though that guy might not be as nearly as good as that guy in China or in Korea, skirmishing wise, mechanics, whatever. You would actually empathize more with the game states he's seeing, how people play, the psychology of the people that are on his team. Like watching that guy stream, if anything, would be amazing. You would understand like how he navigates these types of games. And actually, funnily enough, and this is maybe even a controversial point, watching someone maybe a slightly higher elo than is actually quite interesting. So if you're a D2, watching a GM Olaf player can sometimes,
or a Master Tier
Olaf player can actually sometimes be more interesting because they are definitely better than you.
And you're sort of similar to the skill level.
Yeah, you're similar to the skill level.
And you can relate, and maybe you're seeing like little differences.
Spot on. And that's why I think for me, I was actually naturally leaning towards EU VODs over time. 610 always said, why do you watch so many EU VODs? And I think it was my intuition telling me that I resonate more. This looks more like my games, right? And I just found myself watching more EU. And so my point being, I think if you're an EU, you should actually watch EU VODs. If you're a GM or a Master to EU player, you should watch GM Challenger EU VODs. If you're in NA, you should watch NA VODs. Ideally, even in OS, like I would actually learn a lot from watching Kisei, because I'll see how he navigates or like other high elo mid laners. Like how do they navigate these games? Like what? And then it doesn't mean I'm taking what they're doing for Bible, right? For gospel. I'm not like following what they do, but it's interesting to see how they win games and they interpret these situations. And so now the follow on from this, you may say then, well,
how do I get new ideas?
Yeah, there's that.
How can I know what the next level of the champion looks like?
Right. Well, that's interesting you say that, because like, how often do you need to take things to the next level?
Yeah.
I feel like
even at that point yet,
like
right?
Will, for example, your client would benefit from watching the best Kindred in Korea. Right? Because he's at the top of NA. Like you want to push the next level, right? But for majority of players, 99.99% of players, they just need to get a little bit better. They need to get that next, that step above. Now, I do think there is value from watching other servers of extremely amazing players, but purely for things like skirmishing, like very specific ability usage stuff and combo usage, and like testing the limits of a champion, seeing what that champion is really capable of. And like if you play Aurelia, you should watch Aurelia King in Korea. Like no matter what, like if you're in an A, EU, whatever, you watch Aurelia King. But again, like the matchups are going to be played differently, right? The matchups he plays in mid, when he does play mid, he plays a lot of top. When he plays mid, they're going to play differently. And you may say, but a matchup's a matchup. No. Because they play the waves very differently. And the junglers, specifically, the big one's the junglers.
Do you think junglers are huge?
The junglers change. I mean, you see this in NA and OS. NA and OS are quite similar from what I've seen from VODs, especially with the junglers playing scaling bullshit all the time. And
it's so funny. I imagine all my salted people playing scaling. Curtis just hates you, man.
Well, no, I don't. I mean,
you just have to play differently. Like,
I just think that, like, I just feel like
you sound like an entitled mid laner here, Curtis.
Well, I don't. I like having them on my team. Because I feel like it's a free win. Like when I get the Rengar player on my team or the Eve, it's a win.
Because you know how to play with them.
No, because like in O's,
Because in O's
no one
specifically.
shuts them down. Like
Yeah,
if you have a
okay.
card this or like like an Eve or a Rengar, I win most of those games.
You love Kha'Zix.
Yeah, I love Kha'Zix
like
and stuff like
100%.
that. But the thing is like I just get angry when like they will pick those champs even when it doesn't fit the comp.
Got
like
it.
they're like linear, this one style. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm just the entitled mid laner.
Entitled mid laner,
But because
yes.
I think in the back of my mind, I'm like you. I do believe League at its highest, almost purest form you should be playing early game. Like I believe that because I believe that jungle is a facilitator role. And deep down, fundamentally,
At the highest level.
yes. That's why, I like playing with you on my team in some games.
Yeah. In other games,
In other games, not so much.
we have made some mistakes. That's all I can say.
So what do you think about this whole theory, Nathan? How does this resonate with
very interesting, and I lean. I mean, yeah, maybe I'm biased because obviously my co-host and we talk about the game all the time. But, yeah, it's interesting. It is, and
you got to give it a go.
Okay. I mean, it is true. I make some videos right on my YouTube channel for sure about, and I study top tier Korean players and stuff like that, and I literally am like making it. I'm like, this is actually not that relatable. Like this is not, you just can't relate this to your games. The game pace is not for a platinum player or something like this is just, because I'm really like trying to filter that out. Like the stuff that's just like, this is not that important.
Right.
I just focus on what are some key learnings here. It's like these resets are really good on items or, he's reading this wave in this way. Like that's what you can take. But it is very difficult for me to review those games and try and suck.
You're like
some
distilling.
stuff.
You're having to distill the learning in a way.
Yeah, that's right. Because I know that so much of it's just not useful.
Yeah. So for anyone listening, give it a go. Try it. I mean, what's the harm? I mean, you're still watching great players who are obviously better than you. So there's things to learn. But so give it a go. Let us know what you think.
Yep.
This is my theory. It's been working for. I mean, I've personally found it more useful as of recently.
And that's you watching EU VODs.
Yeah, I prefer to watch EU.
Okay.
Because it's more. Or sometimes, actually, funnily enough, I probably should watch NA more because I think NA is actually even more similar to OS.
Dude, I've watched so much.
But this is more supporting you from 610 because like 610 was spends all the time watching Showmaker. I was watching a lot of Showmaker. It's like I'm getting nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, I might get some like tidbits about like the way he plays lane and stuff like that. Like little, like very small details. But
so you generally sit there after VOD and be like, okay, like what's the takeaway here?
Well, again, I just don't resonate with the game pace and the game states.
Yeah.
Like I don't.
And the junglers. That's the
I'm
key
not
thing.
in those game states because I remember I was watching a lot of Ari. I was trying to learn Ari from Showmaker, and then like there was all these situations where the jungler's like invading, and he's just able to back him up, and it's just free win. I'm like, that's not happening in my games.
Got it.
That's just not happening. I wish that was happening in my games. When I play Ari, I'm stuck here in an island, and then no one does jack shit, and everyone's playing the side lanes.
Because everyone's allergic to mid lane.
No one's got a ganky mid, but in general, I've got like a fucking Evelyn on my team, and then or a Rengar or whatever it might be, and they're playing the side lanes.
Yeah.
People are terrible playing around mid and playing with like these LeBlancs and Aries. That's why in OS, no one plays LeBlanc.
Because they don't have junglers.
In OS, no one.
That makes so much sense.
No one plays LeBlanc. No one wants to play LeBlanc.
Yeah.
The only people, actually think about in OS history, that reliably played a solid LeBlanc was Swiffer with Spooks.
And they'll duo
And they
the time.
duoed.
That's right. That's right.
That was it.
Yeah.
Like there's two people in OS. Back in the day when you could duo.
All right. So handballing.
Yep.
The topic to me, Curtis.
Yep.
We like to, we talk a big game on the podcast, Curtis, do we? About our mentality towards solo queue. Would you agree?
Yeah, I'd say we have a pretty good mentality.
Yep. We talk the walk, but we definitely like to try and walk the walk, right?
Yeah,
Like we definitely, we respect solo queue. The way we engage with our teammates is.
I mean, we're not angels. We're not perfect, but I
Okay.
would say I'm pretty solid.
Yep. So I have an experience to share. This is going to be a video of a game, and I thought this was just a random, just in my 3 block, just a random game just happened, And this is not like, fabricating. This is literally how I want to get across my mentality, how I engage with the situation. Okay. So we're going to watch a video here. And I really want to just emphasize here, because you know what people think? People think that I think high elo, it's like some utopia compared to low elo, like people like trolling, that sort of stuff, And I just want to what we experience is the same as you guys. Okay. Exact same. And this is what we're going to see here. All right. So guys, get your glasses on, okay? Because you can't see anything, all right? We'll try and...
I don't know. Guys, the audience is thinking, I haven't seen this. I don't know what I'm looking at. I don't know what I'm about to look at here.
All right, here we go. All right.
So 3.
I might have to give some context. All right, Curtis.
Do a countdown.
All right. So we're starting now. 3, 2, 1. All right. So as we can see here, this is a really high lobby game. All right, so we're sort of just skipping through this, right? So I'll give you some context. I'm going to pause here. As we can see here, this is me reviewing the game. I path towards top this game. I have right now, what's happened right now is that the enemy mid laner has gone missing. It's a Galio mid, right? And the enemy jungler is also towards top side. I've seen him walk here. What happens is he gets dived. Top.
Your top gets dove.
Get dove. And I sort of missed the opportunity.
Because you're busy doing your cams?
Yeah, well, I was doing my cams, but I didn't see the Galio move. I was too slow.
Okay.
And then I went to the crab and it was too late. He got dove, right? And then he died. Okay.
Is that because you weren't seeing the waves state as well?
Yeah, I didn't look at the wave at all. I never thought, because a mid lane roam
at level 3
is I'm just not.
It was a level 3? Was it?
Yeah, it was level 3. Yeah. Right. All right. So then he dies. I get 1 kill or so. Yeah. And then as we're going to see here, he starts saying, he starts raging at me here saying 3 waves crashing, fuck the crab. And I'm getting flamed here saying, what are you doing? He's spamming me saying crab is worthless. He's telling me how to jungle. Yeah,
right? I know that guy.
Yeah. We won't get into names here, Curtis. Okay. This is just sort of just
as in it's someone we've played with.
Yes, that's right. Okay. We do know him. Okay. Yeah. And then I use my toolkit. I mute him, as you can see there.
Yeah,
use mute. Okay. Instant mute. Okay. So I'm going on through the game, and then now I've got him muted, and then he's obviously still typing to me, and my support has to say, Nathan Mott plays the chat muted, So he's sort of trying to calm him down because he's really angry. And then what happens as well, because I go for bot here, he now dies top, as we can see there. You see how he's just died top as well there? So he's just died on a stacked wave again. He's just died and he's lost another 3 waves, okay? And then now that my support goes, yes, he's we know Nathan Mott's bad, but we should still play the game again. He's trying to calm him down. So I have to mute this guy as well. This guy's trying to be he's
trying to be the mediator.
I'm seeing this, right, in my game.
Right, so you have to mute him now because he's saying, okay.
It's yes, guys, we know Nathan Mott's terrible, just mute the game, Just keep on that. And then what happens right here, as we can see, the Camille now leaves his lane and he's just following me around the map and he's going to take all my camps for a couple of minutes, all right? Yeah. So I take Dragon, as we can see here.
Yeah.
And then now he's come into my blue. And I am doing nothing to respond to this. All I'm doing is playing how I would normally play.
Yeah.
Okay. So he's just here, taking my camps, took my blue buff. Now he's on my wolves. Okay. On my wolves. We take wolves, and then he follows my recall. And Riven's just getting free farm top. It's a Riven. He's level 7. Yep. My Camille's level 5 with no CS, and he's died. Look at that. Look at my top lane. Yep. My top is literally on 1 plate. All right. And I just recall again. Notice. Look at what's going on, guys. I'm not engaging at all. My mindset right now, guys, is I'm only focused on my control. If this guy has the way that I view it is, this player has chosen to engage in solo queue this matter. I don't have control over that.
Yeah.
This player has chose to react this way when teammates make mistakes, give up, make sure this player doesn't win the game, all right? Mm-hmm. But again, that's my mentality. I'm happy to lose this game. That's my mindset. I'm not going to, there's no, trying to explain myself. This is the key thing, guys. Never ever try to justify yourself to a laner, and as a jungler specifically, okay? Never do it. You never have the conversation. Just move on to the next game, right? So he's taking my Raptors. As we can see here, he's coming to my Raptors. He's just following me out of base, following me the whole time. And look at Riven, just completely free farming. He even just tries to steal CS. And I don't even really try and take the minions from him. Sometimes you can posture, I'm trying to take it. I'm just hitting him as normal. If he gets him, he gets him. That's my mindset as well. It's not I'm literally just doing as I normally would.
Yeah.
All right. As we go through this game, I literally here, you'll be able to see my score. I'm 3-0-10, okay?
Okay.
Played absolutely perfect. We got Baron at 27 minutes.
Yep.
All right? So think about that, given that. So essentially what happened eventually, won't go in the whole game, but, I just didn't respond at all, and then he actually just started playing the game. We got some kills. I'm like, we can maybe win this game. He started playing. Mm-hmm. But imagine if I responded negatively. Imagine if I like gave up, I threw my hands up and then just, stop playing or something like that, right? And then we win this game at like 30 minutes and I play bloody beautiful League of Legends. And as I said, guys, I have 0 deaths. That's how important not dying is. If I made one mistake that game, I will lose.
Yep.
All right? So that's that game. And then the next game, I queue up and then I play with him again. All right. Next game, he's my top laner. Same thing, Camille. It's a Camille versus Vayne. I decide to make him my win condition and play towards the player that just tried to grief me in that game. All right. Think about that mentality, guys. And then what happens here, as we can see, I'm playing Camille into Vayne. I spend all this time. I push her off like 3 waves top. Top's my win con. I just repeat dive top. As we can see here, I come dive top again. And, we win this game in 20 minutes. And this guy goes like, 13-3, who again just griefed me before. Right. Yeah. So think about that mindset, that mentality. Given, again, just showing you guys so a laner come in and following you around, this is how I respond to it. And I want to just show you guys, like, this is real. This is how I interact with the game. This is my mindset. And it happens to you and it happens to me. And it happens to you as well, Curtis. And this is the way I chose. And again, I'm just trying to get around that mindset. It's like, this is the way this player has chosen to engage in solo queue. It's out of my control. You can only focus on what's in your control.
Yeah, that's an amazing. Well, thank you for sharing that. Because it hopefully inspires people, shows that how you conduct yourself in solo queue. I want to kind of riff off one thing you said in that video there. You said, don't. I might butcher this, but you said something along the lines of, don't try to explain yourself.
Yes.
Right? You said something like that, right? It was like,
don't try to justify your gameplay. Yeah.
Right. Don't try to justify your actions. I think that's a really important thing. So something I see and I was guilty of in the past was kind of like saying, sorry, I thought I could do that.
Never say sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Never apologize.
I think like your default response, kind of like a beta male response in a way. It's like, I'm sorry, it's my fault. Like you're trying to please people. You're trying to like make them, you're trying to like, in a way, what's the word? It's not self-deprecating, but it's kind of like you're trying to explain your mistakes or so they don't judge you or like
that's what it
making
is.
them feel happy.
We talked about, was it 2 episodes ago? It's about caring what other people think.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck what any of these players think.
You actually need to be an asshole in a weird way.
Yeah, I come across that. So I think that's why a lot of people don't like me, because I don't engage in conversation.
You come across
at all.
entitled.
Yeah.
But I think that like that's really important, I think, in life I think especially I think this is for both men and women, but like, we can't really speak for women because we're not women, but I think especially the man that I want to be, and I think the type of man that, I would aspire to be. And I think that yourself included, that we would want to be men that, we respect ourselves, and I don't need to apologize for a mistake.
I own my mistake.
Yeah, I own my mistakes. Exactly.
Again, my mindset that game is like, I should have identified that level 3
But you own it through your actions.
Yes.
You own it by trying to win and show it. Like who gives a shit? Everyone makes mistakes. I don't want to be like some little bitch saying, I'm sorry, that's my fault. Sorry. Well, because then if you apologize for one thing, you're going to have to apologize for everything, in a way. Like I want to be the type of person that, I'm on my own journey, doing my own thing. And I don't need to justify my actions to anyone else. I don't need that person to like me. I don't need that person to understand why I did what I did. Because we're probably not going to play together. We're not going to be in this situation ever again. He's not my competitive teammate that I'm going on stage to play next week with. I don't give a shit who this guy is. I'm me and my journey. And I think that this extends more in life, right? It's like I make my decisions how I want to live my life. And if that annoys someone else, or that someone, judges me for how I live my life, then get fucked. I don't care. Like I want to live my life this way. So, and this is the important thing. People say, oh, isn't that closed-minded? Well, again, this ties back to one of my favorite quotes is, you don't have to listen to everyone, because not everyone has your best interest in heart.
That guy's telling me crab's worthless.
That guy,
he's trying to teach me how to jungle.
That guy is genuinely not trying to find the truth, right? Like if that guy had an incentive to understand the truth of that situation and wasn't emotionally invested, of course you're going to listen to that guy. Like if that was a jungle coach that like is if you're a client of his and he's telling you how you could play better, of course you're going to listen to him. But 99% of the players in your game,
they don't give a fuck.
They don't give a fuck about your improvement. They just want them to be right to protect their ego. You think Camille's going to say, you know what, that was actually my bad. I should have pinged for assistance, or I should have actually been aware of mid lane roaming, or I should have backed off that wave, or whatever it might be. Because he probably could have backed off and waited, like maybe missed a wave, but then you could have helped him, right? I mean, it's things he could have done better because he didn't seem to be aware of Galio moving, right? I'm assuming so. But he wants to protect his ego because he doesn't want to come across as the person that made the wrong play or the wrong call, right? And it's an ego defense mechanism.
It's very tied to our Soloq contract, right? Understanding the behavior is a cure to like, you know, understanding the way people are going to interact, you know, and the way that when they make mistakes or they lose waves, how they're going to behave.
And that is, by the way, that is the most like the most intimidating thing you can do. What you just did. Like the most intimidating thing you can do is just play well and not talk.
3-0-10, just the rest of the
like
game is beautiful League of Legends.
You just made him look like a little bitch, right? Like he looks like a little, like literally like a little kid.
Especially from the other teammates as well. It's not even just about me. It's just everyone that sees that behavior.
It's like, look at this kid.
Yeah.
It's embarrassing. What sort of Soloq player do you want to be? What sort of player do you want to be?
And again, that's a choice. Remember, that's the key thing. That question, that's a choice that person's made. You know, like,
and that shapes your identity.
Yes, it does.
Remember, your identity is shaped by every single choice you make.
Me deciding not to engage, that's who I embrace who I am.
And I also want to talk about that game that we played together.
Yeah.
Right? We played a game together.
Yes, we did.
Recently in Soloq.
Was that on the new patch or not?
I can't remember. I don't remember.
I think it was before the patch.
I can't remember. Anyway, and it was a free win. Like we do really well.
The early game was pretty perfect. Lots of pressure. We had Dragon Soul win condition coming up.
I was playing Fizz and I was like popping off.
Yeah.
And like I shoved out top before Dragon. Dragon was coming up, I think, in 30 seconds or 40 seconds. And I'm like, I'm shoving out top and I'm moving down. Plenty of time to set up for Dragon and get there. And then you just like, you ran at them and just died.
Yeah.
It was like really random. It was really, you just had to wait for me.
That's
like
right.
You didn't wait for me to get there.
We just had to set up the Dragon properly.
I was defending member. I was the win con like at that stage.
Curtis was the strongest member.
And all you had to do was just wait for me to walk down. I like pinged on my way. I pinged the Dragon timer. I was like set up perfectly, right? And I actually got a bit frustrated purely because it's Nathan. Like if it's anyone else, it's like expected.
You have high expectations.
Yeah, my expectations for you are high. It's like get your shit together. This is a very stock standard decision to do. This is like you're playing in accordance to a win con
in high yellow.
Yeah, it's an expectation for you though, right? And I think you made like another bad. I think you made like
there was a lot after that.
There was like after that you made like 2 or 3 really quick. There was like one where you contested a Dragon that I had no idea. Like it was obvious that we're giving like really. Like it looked to me you didn't care. Like the vibe I got from you was that you didn't care about winning that game, right? Yeah. And that pissed me off even more.
Yeah.
Where it was like, Nathan doesn't care about winning. Like, why does he not want to win? Like he's not being a competitor, right? And then I actually said, you know, fuck it. I'm actually gonna just really try. I refuse to lose this game. Like you
go into the mindset like I'm not gonna lose this game.
I'm not gonna lose this game. Like no
matter how hard my teammates are making it for me.
Yeah. No matter how much Nathan deserves to lose this game.
I do, didn't I?
No matter how hard he's made it, I'm gonna go above and beyond.
Yeah.
And you know, I want to give him my all. And I mustered up all my I was just like I had this like that ball mentality type thing. I'm like, I'm not losing this game. And then like we end up like making a really good play. I think I made a game-winning TP play to kill the Silas, and then you hovered me, and then we killed the Evelyn. And it was like game over.
That's right.
And I remember coming out of the game thinking, I don't really care about the win or loss. I care about how I conducted myself. The feeling I had after that game, like I was so proud of myself for feeling that frustration, but then using it as fuel
like motivation
to like really up my intensity.
All the odds are stacked in against me. My jungle was literally like obviously checked out. I'm going to win this game.
But the feeling I had that's a confidence booster. Like the fact that like I had
You were able to win a game like that.
I was able to stay in the game mentally and win that game in a very hard game. I was counterpicked as well and everything. I had to play out of my mind and we won. And I was proud of myself just from a mentality perspective. And in my opinion, all it takes is having a handful of those moments to feel what it feels like.
What it feels like, yeah.
Because you must feel top of the world after that game when you won that game with the guy following you.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, I thought I was the greatest. I thought I was the best jungle in the server. I was like,
because no one would win that game.
No one would win that game. They'll give up and they'll throw a tantrum.
Mentally,
in my perspective.
No one would have the mental resilience to win that game.
Yeah, those games are powerful. Yeah,
you don't need a handful of them because they store in your memory. It's like that's what I'm capable of. If I can stay this strong mentally now in a game like this, I can do anything.
That's just the rest of it's just easy. Yeah.
So yeah, I love it. Good story. Definitely a good story.
All right, so the last thing I want to talk about for this episode, I had a really funny question from one of my I thought it was like really funny at the time from one of our Soloq members in review session yesterday. He said, you know how we talk about the mental stack obviously all the time? He came in and he asked, so Nathan, how many things can like a gold player hold in their mental stack? Right?
Right.
And what do we know about humans and working memory, right? We can only like
it's no matter
what, right? And it was really interesting that question.
Yeah,
it's sort of like it felt like he was asking like, okay, I'm inferior because I'm gold. Like you can challenger players that must hold 20.
Human,
it's like so how much can a gold player like can a gold player only hold 5 things in their working memory and a challenger player holds 20 things? And it's sort of like interesting to me because again, it's sort of just not forgetting the whole muscle memory point and the point of, practicing these learning objectives over and over again so we don't have to think about it. Like, that example you used in when you first started playing the game, you had to like look at QWER.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? And like that makes sense if you're like trying to figure out the buttons for anything, a game or anything, a new, let's say you've got a new camera or something. It becomes muscle memory. Like humans are like, you got to abuse the muscle memory. It's actually, it's like we talk about the broken by concept in the last episode. Human muscle memory is broken by concept.
Yeah.
The more you can get, like if you think about someone like Faker, it looks effortless. Like it's effortless because everything's in the muscle memory. Like, when you watch Curtis and I play, like, let's say the MLA members watching your gameplay, there's so much going on that you can't even explain it, right? Because it's all just all this muscle memory.
Muscle memory feel.
And it's just really important, guys. Like, we're not thinking about more. We're thinking about the same amount of things, but just we've obviously prioritized things. And we have a capability to think about more macro things of the game. And we can look at mid lane roam because we're not thinking about how to hit our jungle camps.
As a side note on this, like, I actually, in a weird way, I feel like I'm not, how do I explain it? There's a feeling where it genuinely feels like I'm actually playing League of Legends. Like how we've spoken about that analogy where Master Plus is like you're playing
the game.
You're actually playing the game. Mm-hmm. Like before Master, you're like just learning. You're all learning. And what I mean by that is like do you have these games, Nathan, where that you kind of have maybe there's the unfamiliar situations, like the matchups like you're not really familiar with, or like there's a new champ, or items are changed, or there's a patch, or whatever it might be. There's things that like you're really unfamiliar with, and it throws you off, and you're on the defense, and you're not really thinking about how to win the game as much as you're thinking just about like, what do I just need to do next? Or like you're thinking so much about that one moment that you're not.
I have the perfect example. Renata ult had changed the way I had to play team fights.
Right.
And it's something I had to think about. I had to use my muscle memory into that. But think about other champ ults. Like, let's say I'm versing a Syndra ult. That damage is already like embedded in my brain about how much damage that person will do with those items, that sort of the game. I'd have to think about that. Renata ult, something new. It's like,
even the Renata W.
Renata W as well.
The Renata W.
You need to think like, can I go in here, get the kill, and make sure that person doesn't get a reset off me?
Yeah, I literally had to play a game on my Smurf of Renata the other day just to feel it, because I was getting caught off guard so much by that champion. Like I didn't know really what it did and how it worked, because I found it so annoying to verse. So I played it, yeah, it's a very good kit, by the way, Renata. It's a really, really good
support kit.
It's a really good support kit. But yeah, in saying that, so my point being, it almost feels like, I would say maybe 1 in 5 of my games. No. I'd say 1 in 4. It actually feels like I'm playing League of Legends fully.
1 in 4.
Yeah. For
Really?
me right now, because I'm reintroducing like Fizz into my pool and stuff like that, and like trying to relearn the matchups. I'm purely on the defense.
Interesting.
I'm actually on the defense.
That's just how important champ mastery is.
Champ mastery is like, I don't think people.
Yeah, when you, I mean, these are champs you've played as well, like a lot.
Yeah.
And you feel like you're still going back to
I'm still
back to square
like,
one.
I'm still not. I mean, maybe in the mid game, I feel like I'm kind of winning, but even then, I'm like on the back foot.
Yeah.
Like there's a completely different feeling for anyone who's really achieved a metric ton of champ mastery. And you probably can resonate. There's like a feeling where all you're thinking about is just, or you're soaking in the map. Like you're directing all of your attention to the mini map. You're not thinking about how you're like fighting or like what you need to do. It's clear what you need to do. It's like laser focus. I need to do this. This is why I need to kill. This is how I'm going to kill them. Like it's crystal clear. Like it's just a flow. It's just like a river. Every decision is just muscle memory. Yeah, I would say that's at the moment for me right now. It's 1 in 4. Like I'm playing really, but
it would be 4 on 4 if you're playing your main champs.
If I'm playing my main champs and when I'm really familiar with them,
because if I'm
basically
jungling and I don't play League of Legends and jungling, like reading the waves and stuff, the percent of me win that game is incredibly low.
It's basically a coin flip.
It's less than a coin flip.
Yeah,
the enemy jungler is going to be doing that, so it's like 30% chance.
Yeah, but I think until you felt that, you don't really know. Like we're not giving it justice. We can't articulate what that feels like. It's really, really hard to articulate. It's kind of like the only analogy I can come up with this is like when you learn how to drive, when you finally learn how to properly drive and you get comfortable in a car, you can actually soak in your surroundings while not having to think about how to drive. That's when you can drive. That's when you can really drive. But that's a feeling, right? That takes like, hours, like maybe 100 hours.
Especially like learning a manual.
Yeah, if you're learning a manual, you're having to think of it. And everything's rigid. Like, okay, I'm looking here, then I look there, then I look here. Like everything's rigid. But like there's a moment in time where like that's all free flow. You don't have to think about any of that. That's just what you do. And League does get to that point eventually. But it takes a long time. It takes a very, very long time. I do have one little, I want to be very quick here. I don't want to go too deep on this, but I want to introduce it.
Okay. Introduce it. We can
just more of a shout out. This is more of a shout out, but something worth thinking about. I have a client in my Midland Academy named Van, and she is a woman, and she is an absolute grinder. Van inspires me.
Are you talking about like 15 games a day or talking about 3 blocks?
Just process wise. Like she really gets into the details. And I have so much respect. Like she actually inspires me. She's in gold, but she inspires the hell out of me just with the amount of dedication towards genuinely trying to improve and take the game seriously and like understanding like the importance of like understanding things really, really well. And she's really developing a sophisticated understanding of the game. She shows up to reviews all the time. She puts in the hours. She does everything. And right now, I've been talking to Tim, and Tim's the other coach in the academy, and he's been doing a bunch of sessions with Van as well. So she's really gets sessions done. And she's kind of stuck in gold. And I had a conversation with Tim privately, and he was saying something like, Van, she has a really good game knowledge, but her he believes it's a lack of confidence that actually permeates her gameplay.
That's the fundamental issue.
That leads her to making poor quality decisions. It's her lack of belief of what she knows.
She'll compensate lots for plays. She'll go to bad fights.
Yes.
Oh, there's a fight happening, so I've got to go there. Does.
And you know what? I want to give her props because, and this might be controversial. I'm just going to say it. Being a woman in gaming is not easy. And I don't know what it feels like. I'm a dude. I'm like a white dude. Like I know I can't really comment on anything when it comes to,
you're the average league player.
I'm an average league player. And I can't imagine what it would feel like to be a woman in the gaming space, trying to take your climb seriously, but knowing that like you're versing only men who, in a way, they don't think, they have zero doubt. Most of the people that she's versing have zero doubt in their mind that they can get better or they are good at the game. Where she's coming from a background that she knows she's not naturally talented at the game.
She's versing players that would have delusional ego.
And that's these people they're on the opposite, they're literally on the opposite side of the delusional, completely delusional in their level of play. Comparatively to her, she knows how good she isn't because she knows she's been in the MLA. She knows all this stuff.
She knows all the mistakes.
She knows all the mistakes she's making and how they contribute to a loss. And she also knows that, I'm assuming, and my point being here is that I think there's also something that she is a woman that impacts her ability to express her best self. Like if she knew in a way that everyone else in that game was a woman, I feel like she would play way better.
Oh,
that's my take.
There's a chess study about this actually. What they did was they had like a grandmaster chess woman verse. They said that she was versing another female player. It was actually a guy. She played better against when she was told it was a guy.
Wow.
That's a study you can look up.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's definitely an element of that.
Right. And I might be wrong and it might not be. And this has just come across like just sexist because, again, I don't know what it feels like to be a woman in gaming. But my hunch is that this is kind of like the way I view it is like there's a weight on her shoulder that no one, like not many other people have. And I respect the fuck out of her for keep on going, keep on pushing, following the process, getting into the reviews, following the details. And I feel like she is making progress, although
it might take longer. It might take another 6 months, longer than normal.
And she knows that. But I feel like with her, it will click in like one moment. It's like I feel like she has this knowledge. As soon as she overcomes this mental block, like she just trusts what she knows.
Yes.
She executes on what she goddamn knows about the game. She's gonna skyrocket. That's what my theory. So Van, if you're watching this, I want you to keep going and I respect the hell out of you. And I think you're a massive inspiration for a lot of other women in the gaming industry who are really trying to take their climb seriously and have a passion for improvement and using League as a tool for, competitive outlet and bettering yourself. She's like paving the way in a way with her process. So
she gets the challenger, she will change the game.
Yeah, my God, I'm not going to give up on her. I'm just going to keep going.
Love it. I hope she doesn't give up.
Yeah, me too. I hope so. I hope she doesn't either. Cool.
All right. Thanks for sharing that, Curtis, to the end of the podcast. So that's it. Usually we have Nathan's mailbag, but that's going to be
sad.
That's going to be another episode, guys. So
sad.
Let's keep on improving as I normally say, and we'll see you next time.